Hey guys, it's Jess. Welcome back to my very special Fallout 4 week where I interviewed Courtenay Taylor and Kal-El Bogdanove. So Courtenay, you have been working in video games for a long time and have a very impressive resume as far as your vocal work goes. How have you, as a woman, seen the video game industry change in that time that you've worked in it?
I think we wear more clothing when we're on screen. I think there is much more focus on having women play much more interesting, fleshed out characters. I always make the joke about like the sniper with the bikini on, where I'm like, that can't happen. You cannot be in that position with a string bikini on. It doesn't work. But Fallout 4 is a testament to having two fully fleshed out different characters, different backstories, separate but equal. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing stuff like at E3, Dishonored 2, was it? Yeah. I mean, she's the thing. It's mm-hmm. not just an anomaly. It's now becoming more of the norm. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing across the board video game scripts just with fuller stories anyway, mm-hmm. but that there's a lot more inclusion as far as having women doing military games. When I mm-hmm. started, I did Call of Duty 2, and it was like I was a Russian soldier, sort of background, additional voices kind of a thing. And now, Call of Duty features a playable woman, and that's it's a reflection of what's going on in society, what's going on in the military, mm-hmm. and that I think it points out that not just women want to play women, right. Men want to play women. I get mm-hmm. I get amazing feedback for Jack. I get amazing mm-hmm. feedback for Ada Wong from Resident Evil, and also for this. So many times I've heard, I'm going to play as a woman. I'm so excited. I want, so I think that they're writing things for us that are more interesting. It's more believable for a woman to play a badass role. It's more fun to have these roles be turned on their head because everybody's played as a badass dude.
Right.
It's across the board, and so you're giving the gamers a new experience as well as allowing us to show that it's just as honest and interesting of an experience from our end to your game console. Mm-hmm. And so I'm extremely happy about that.
I mean, Bethesda has taken the lead in this for a long time, right? You've been able to play as whoever you wanted. You were able to define yourself from the beginning,
right?
Which is great. But we all know that elsewhere in the industry, like there were a lot of games where the female characters were just there for TNA. Yeah. And all right, so that's like maybe that's like a Russ Meyer movie. It's a B, it's like a B movie game. That's right, fine, right. But there's obviously a desire, and not just for the female characters, but for everybody to be a little more fully fleshed out, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. too. I mean,
more choice of what you look like, mm-hmm. what your ethnic background is. People want to be represented.
Yeah.
When they play, mm-hmm. and they also conversely want to do something that's totally different right. than what they are every day. I think that's the best. One of the best things about gaming is having that opportunity. Like it is your choice to mm-hmm. play it one day this way and one day this way.
And I think it happens. This has evolved because of strong, like rigorous critique by scholars on the subject, mm-hmm. many of whom have unfortunately faced a lot of blowback. We all know, but that's had an effect though on kind of like pushing the industry into growing up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I also think that a lot of it is driven by players, right? You can only like go on a murderous revenge spree because your wife got locked in a refrigerator so many times before you're like, next, something more, something else, some other story that exists on Earth. And so I think that the urge of like the people behind the games have the crews have become much more diverse, not as much as they should be, but better. And I think there's more of an urge amongst developers to tell other kinds of stories, stories where you're a parent. We've seen a lot of those recently, The Last of Us, and some of the Silent Hill games, and this game, and a number of other things. Are sort of about the experience of some dimension of parenting, and I think as much as things have evolved because of specific deconstruction of the art, I think they are also evolving just because players are asking for more, and developers are itching to tell other stories and give more.
And so many more people play games now.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge industry, and it's even like with Fallout. Fallout 4, a lot of people are getting into the franchise because of the hype around the game, and it is that it's all this player choice that's perking people's ears up, because if you're going to get into gaming, then being able to be represented, being able to have all this choice is going to entice other people to come who may not, Wolfenstein or something like that might be too specific for somebody who's not played games before, whereas this, I think, has gotten a lot of people interested, and just overall the numbers of people who play games and the different age groups. I've definitely seen a lot of older folks coming in playing, families playing together, which I think is super cool. I've seen at conventions, cosplay. I judge a cosplay contest at the video game cosplay contest at Dragon Con.
Oh, cool. And
it's great, like dads making, doing cosplay stuff, builds for their kids. And so
I love there's a convention now of dads as Wreck-It Ralph and their daughters.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
As Penelope is the
Vanellope.
Yeah. And like every time I see that, I just melt.
Oh, it's so cute.
Adorable.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not just about like, badass characters informing, but also I think sexual orientation has been a big, and with Jack, I felt so proud to be able to have a part in her creation, because I had so much feedback from gay and lesbian players coming and saying thank you for representing somebody who is bisexual, and I think that's important too, to have all this kind of representation across the board. I'm so excited that this world has kind of busted open, and that there's acceptance generating from these games, because I think when you have it's really interesting to me, you see movie stars and you sort of kind of go like, oh, it's a movie star. You see TV stars and you're like, oh, I know them from somewhere. Wait, how do I know them? I get, and I think other people who work in video games get, like, you were on my squad. We have a thing. And so if somebody that that you've fought with, that you've had this relationship with, represents something that maybe you don't know, it makes familiarity breeds acceptance and inclusion, and I think that's a huge part of games.
All the companions who can be romanced in Fallout 4 can be romanced by anyone.
That's cool.
And there's really no lantern hung on it at all. It's just like the capacity exists for you to be able to develop your relationship with these characters in that way, or not, depending on who your character is and what's going on. It's just available there to you without any fanfare, and I think that's super cool from a design perspective.
And hopefully that'll be the norm, is that, it won't be something that you have to go, like, check out what we did.
Right.
It's just a thing where it's like, here's an option. You can have brown hair. You can, be a lesbian. You can, have blue eyes. It's just a choice, and it's a non-issue.
I think that's the best part, is that it's available, but they're not like, ooh, look at us, look how inclusive we are. Like, I think that the fact that they're just like, well, this is normal, this is how it is.
Particularly,
I think
in a game where it is about role playing, where it is about defining. I mean, we're all going to want to play games with super specific characters too. You know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us, and that's 2 super specific characters. And you want them to behave exactly like themselves. In this game, you are as much invested in the storytelling, hopefully, as we were making it, right? So we want you to be able to tell whatever kind of story interests you. And they've really put in the work to make that possible, and I think that's really neat.
That's great.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, and go ahead and leave me a comment in the comments below. Thanks!